Hey guys, I have a huge update on the 2006 Chevrolet Impala Demolition Derby car. We're getting right into this thing because this is going to be a longer video, guys. So we obviously have gotten a lot done on this thing, including part of the paint job, which I'm going to be working on more today, and possibly getting the holes to the roof sign drilled out. Today is Thursday, the car is running Sunday. Let's go ahead and make a little walk around. I'll talk about that in just a moment here. This car is going to be running in obviously the bone stock class at Boonville, if you guys haven't already guessed that. Boonville has changed promoters from the people who didn't allow you to run an in-car tank to people who, a person I should say, that allows you to have a welding cage with a tank inside. So I'm very happy about that. That's why I was mentioning in the prelude videos that we're going to be keeping an eye on that kind of stuff at Lewis County, because the same guy who promoted Lewis County was also the same person who was promoting Boonville. But so that's the big news. This thing is running at Boonville. I'm not sure whether this video is going up before the Derby or after it. Opening the hood here, you'll see also that we went with the cop car theme. I'll talk more about that as we get towards the middle of the vehicle. I'm going to start at the front here. Got our Ford freestyle bumper on, as you guys saw before, I think. Geez, I think. Maybe this bumper wasn't even mounted then. No, I guess it wasn't. Yeah, I got the Ford freestyle bumper on there. As you guys know, I love my Ford freestyle bumpers. We have it bolted on. I am allowed to weld it on. But the thing is that if I'm going to run a 1 in 6 show, which is what Boonville is, same as Lewis County Fair, I don't want to weld this bumper on and have to cut it off to put another bumper on. If you know, can understand that. In the pits, especially when I may run at like towards 3 o'clock or even 3:30, or get back to the pits by about 3:30, then I have to worry about cutting this 9-wire and then cutting all the welds, and then I have to bolt it back on anyway because I don't have a welder. I don't have a portable generator or anything like that. I can't afford one. So I have to go ahead and bolt it back on anyway. So I might as well just bolt it on in the first place. I've never had a bumper fall off. Fingers crossed that this one also does the same and does not fall off, but we'll see what happens. But I like my Ford freestyle bumpers. They take a lot of pressure off of that frame, at least for a long period of time. And I've had really good luck with them not V'ing in. And they have V'd in on me before, but never bad enough to actually ruin a radiator from what I recall. It's always ended up being the core support bending in or the frame rail, well, pushing into the radiator. So I'm just going to stick to my Ford freestyle bumper. I got another one over there ready to go for Sunday. We're going to bring it with us because, like I said, it's a 1 in 6 show, so that means that technically it's almost like running a heat and feature. So I'm going to bring struts, spindles, control arms, starter, belt. Unfortunately, I don't think I have another alternator. Maybe I do, I don't know, I'd have to look. Air neck, you know, because I'm famous about losing them apparently. Throttle body, you know, pedal stuff, common stuff, brake stuff on these Impalas. Maybe some wiring, maybe a computer or TCM. The TCM is a plug-in play, by the way. ECM is not. Fuse block, maybe I'll even consider bringing another fuse block. I do have another one. Maybe a couple of these motor mounts, I don't know. I doubt I'll need them because I won't have enough time to pull this core support back out, I bet, if in case it gets pushed in. I'll bring another radiator, cooling fans, AC condenser. I'll just pound that back out to straight like I did this time, really. But yeah, we got the factory cooling fans in there. I thought about running my earlier W-body cooling fans because they were kind of smaller and more compact, and I would have just ran one, but you know what? We're just going to run the factory ones. Who gives a crap? This car, really, to me, is not as good as the old W-bodies. They have a lot more crush points, as you guys can see. Here, that's normal, but here, that's kind of a newer one on these newer W-bodies. This is before they strengthened the Impala frames, because they actually did do a kind of revisement of the frame. I guess they strengthened it somehow in, I think, the 2010 or 2011 model year. So this is kind of the weakest frame until they got better, and also it's a little crusty. So this is going to be a back end kind of car. I don't think these front ends are going to prove to be very good, but we'll see with the aluminum suspension, or sorry, aluminum subframe underneath. We'll see how it holds up. Obviously, those control arms are going to be possibly a big issue with them being where they attach to that aluminum subframe. If I tear that aluminum off, well, I guess we're going to have an interesting type of deal going there. Might be getting very creative with 9-wire, so if I can even keep axles in it, you know what I mean. So but overall, the wiring's turned out okay. I'm not super thrilled about it. There's not much for room for it to move, unfortunately, and this motor does flop quite a lot. But yeah, not exactly happy about it flopping as much as it does, even though I replaced both bottom motor mounts. And these front motor mounts appear to be in pretty good shape, at least rubber-wise down in here, but I don't know, she flops a bit. I think she's slamming in reverse, so I'm not sure what that's all about. I did end up deleting transmission limp mode, so maybe it has something to do with that, but I'm pretty sure it was slamming before the fact too. And the reason I did, well, obviously you guys know why I disabled transmission limp mode, in case it gets hot. And the way you do that, it's very simple. All you have to do is cut the wire. And it will, then the computer says, oh, well, what's the engine coolant temperature sensor saying instead? It actually relies on the engine coolant temperature sensor, and we bypass limp mode with the resistor. Now, there is a possibility this does still go in the limp mode, and that is due to including heat limp mode. And it would have to get to, I think, 370 degrees roughly. I'd have to do the calculation, but it could theoretically go in the limp mode. I doubt it. I seriously doubt it will go in the limp mode, but I'd have to be stupid hot. And at that point, well, this thing probably would be blown up anyway. This is a more high mileage motor. She's I think she's a little tired, but she's got a lot of torque left in her. I will say that. I took this thing for a test drive. Speaking of which, I never got it above the quarter inch or quarter mark above the on the engine coolant temperature sensor gauge in there. I don't know. I'm lost for words because this sun is freaking hot. It's like, I think, feels like mid-90s with the humidity and stuff like that. It's not great. It's not great today. So anyway, it tends to screw with my head, and I'm not the greatest at talking anyway. Back to what I was saying. There is a chance that this thing does go into limp mode. I guess we're gonna find out. I don't suspect it will be a very long heat. I could be wrong, but because they don't really let it go to a long heat. If you guys watch any Lewis County videos, majority of those are pretty short heats because of the fact that they didn't let it go for so long, because they just kind of left it up to the crowd. They essentially called it back to the crowd to pick their favorite. Hopefully a lot of people are watching me at Boonville and enjoying what I'm doing. Hopefully people know me and will cheer for me, but I don't know. We'll see if it comes down to that top two and we're fighting it out the old-fashioned way, where we're just trying to get the kill shot on each other instead of going head-on, which I could do. It depends on how bad the car is, or how excited I get. But this car going head-on against most cars will lose, unfortunately. I mean, there's very select cars that this thing will actually do well against, so it is what it is. But overall, yeah, we'll see if I end up being the popular one. Honestly, I don't plan on doing huge shots, so I might not be, so I don't know. Because I don't want to trash this car in just like 2 seconds and then be like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. But I'm not going to be a sandbagger either. I'm going to be hidden. So if stuff really starts to go to crap, then we're going to be sending it, buds. We're going to be sending it, boys. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's under the hood right there. Like I said, this is going to be a long video, so bear with me, guys. Back here, we got the cop car theme going on. Got obviously our rear quarters beat in and stuff like that. Let's go ahead and take a look at this cage in here. It is my cage I ran in the Regal with the same fuel setup actually. This is not the same exact fuel setup. This is actually one I just bought not terribly long ago, and I'll go over this side because the door's still open so I can give you a little bit better of a look. It is the Evil Energy fuel setup, meaning the fuel pump and the fuel sending unit, or I should say fuel cell, because it doesn't have a fuel sending unit unless you count the I guess the gauge right there. I guess that is the sending unit technically, but yeah, that isn't even plugged in. So but yeah, hopefully it holds up well. It was pretty cheap, and usually cheap is not great, but I guess we'll find out. It held up good for me in the Regal, so we'll see. Or at least the other kit did that I had. I did have to add the fuel pressure regulator because of the fact that this is a returnless system, and it is regulated at the tank instead of the fuel rail, like most cars. Well, actually, most newer cars are like this, where they're actually maintained at the fuel sending unit itself in the tank. This one had to have the fuel regulator, which I did get very cheap. So we'll see if that holds up. If I start having, well, if I get out really quick, you guys know why. Or you guys will see that on the GoPro footage. But overall, she's in pretty good shape. I got the seat very far back compared to what I've ran in the past, which is not saying much because I've sat right at the steering wheel before, which was stupid. But I never got hurt, thankfully. But if I gotten any real hard shots in the front, I would have been kissing that steering wheel pretty good. So. But good news is, this is about actually where I sit in my daily driver Impala, so I should be all right. This is definitely probably the most room, I gotta say this is the most room I've ever had in a derby car. And the cage is very offset, but it's all welded pretty good, so it will be just fine. The the switches are mounted, obviously. That's all set and ready to go. This car is basically ready to go in the ring. There's very few things. Obviously my tape isn't holding up for today, but I guess I'll have to retape that. That's so if my elbow goes flying back, it doesn't whack my fuel pump and knock any of the connections off or anything like stupid like that. We don't want that happening. But overall, my RAM floor mat going over my car battery there, which is the same car battery I've been running for 4 years now, and it's still putting out, it's rated for I think 900 cold cranking amps. It's still putting out 1100 according to my battery tester, so that darn battery is doing pretty good. I keep it inside all winter, so that probably has something to do with it, but it appears to be cranking this car pretty good. Not as fast as I thought it would, but you know, it is what it is. And I've been cranking it up and then shutting it right back off over and over again, and it's still holding up pretty good. So overall, I'm liking the way this car's turning out. Towards the back here, we have these rear quarters beaten, cut up, beaten, and you guys can see I have quite a good amount of clearance there, as long as the back end does not go down, which there is a possibility of that. But as long as the back end doesn't go down, this thing will be in pretty good shape, I think. But we may have to do some minor clearancing, but we have pretty good clearance as long as nobody comes up here and rips my wheel off, because those are aluminum spindles in the back as well. But I have some huge notches in this thing. Obviously no trunk lid. I learned my lesson with the Lumina. I didn't need that happening again, because this is a back end heavy or strong car. And the frame rails are actually in good shape. I don't know if I've ever shown you guys the frame rails on this thing, maybe except for the original video. The frame rails are pretty solid, and actually it's pretty solid all the way up until where it meets that floor up front, which you can actually see all the way through here, the holes in the floor. But you know, it is what it is. But it's very solid car still. But that's, you know, there's some places that it's rusted, like that's weird. It's rusted along that seam. The strut top of the strut towers are actually in pretty good shape, even compared to cars I've seen on the road. They're not in terrible shape. I do have to take that rubber guy off though. It looks like that guy's starting to come off actually. If I can even reach him from here. I might not be able to reach him, but yeah, that rubber guy's trying to come right off, so I'll have to get that off. But yeah, I got some huge notches here. You guys can see. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But I have some pretty big notches, exactly where I said I was going to notch it. And I normally use 4 notches total. 1 notch right up front and then 1 notch further back. But the way this car is designed, because the pillar is so far back and the way that this is set up underneath, it's just kind of 1 notch and pray with this car, especially with those strut towers there. Good luck ever trying to get that to go up. You know, you could cut that notch there, but it's going to do what it's going to do. I don't think that a notch past that strut tower there is going to help. I mean, maybe another one on this side would have helped more, but I want it going in relatively evenly, so we'll see. I did push the spare tire deck up a little bit, not too much, but a little bit. I probably should maybe even pack it up a little bit more, but I don't know. We'll see if I decide to do that or not, but hopefully she goes up in the back. I've had pretty good luck in the past with my W bodies, even with the bumpers still on them. I've had the bumper actually go down and the frame rails go up before, so, and actually it's packed in quite nicely like that because of the fact that the frame rails go up and then that bumper kind of shoves straight into the bottom floor past there. So not in this generation of W body, but on the older ones. We'll see what this one does. I'm kind of praying. I have seen these go up naturally, so it all depends on the kind of shots we're making. This thing does sit really pretty high off the ground. There's a huge gap. I don't know if you guys haven't already noticed that. Huge gap between the spare tire and the top of that fender, or the fender well there. Huge gap, and the back end of this car is actually pretty. It's pretty stiff. So we'll see how that does. I've had Regals like that, and I've gone over the frame rails of cars because of that, and actually I think that's really good. And that also helps it possibly push up, because as you right on top of that frame rail, it's going to push it up as you start to go in. So fingers crossed, people will be hitting the bottom of that bumper and kind of pushing it up, bending with those notches. At least that's a hope. At least you won't have people coming over that bumper and pushing it down. So that's pretty much the big update on the Impala, guys. I don't know if I've missed anything. I know it's a big update, so, and I've been hauling butt on this thing. That's why the Lewis County videos took so long to get up. And the worst part is I'm way ahead of schedule, which is great. Don't get me wrong. That literally lifts a weight off my shoulder, but I had a rush to get this thing done. Today's Thursday. The Boonville Oneida County Fair is Sunday. I'm not sure if this video is going up before then, but stay tuned. There will be another day before the update, or day before the Derby update. Sorry, guys. For this car, so stay tuned. Like, comment, subscribe, and thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it, and bye-bye, everybody.